Having no restraint usually is quite a bad thing. In this terms, it's a good thing. I don't teach restraints in our bud. I don't teach restraints or holds or pin downs. The reason being is that those are great for match fights. If you can learn how to hold someone down in a one-on-one fight, you can then move to a better position. I've covered this in other videos, so I'm not going to go into detail here. However, why am I restraining you? Why am I holding you down? Why am I trying to pin you? Why am I keeping you where you are? The objective of self-defense is to get myself away from the danger and the harm as quickly as possible. Now, if you're the danger and the harm, I want to knock you over, I want to stamp on your ankle so you can't follow me, and then I want to be gone. To hold you down as if I'm waiting for security to come and get you, or I'm holding you while the police come and get you, is a completely different matter altogether, and shouldn't be something that we are too concerned about. Again, there is a specific ABBA syllabus for security personnel and law enforcement personnel, which covers restraints and hold downs and pins. But for you, the average person training with us, the self-professed non-martial artist who doesn't want to spend a lifetime learning how to do things, you just want to learn something in 1 hour session that will make you infinitely safer. Restraints are not needed, they're not necessarily necessary, and quite frankly, they're dangerous. If you're attempting to hold me down, it means you cannot now run away. You can't run away if you're on the ground. You can't run away if you're holding onto me. The other thing is, how confident are you? If you're trying to restrain me on the ground, how confident are you that you're better on the ground than I am? How confident are you that you're better on the ground than I am, whilst I'm not playing within rules? So what I mean by that is, obviously having a strong judo background, Kezgatami was one of my favourite hold downs, and the very first time I was taught it and I was put in it, the whole thing was, you can't get out of it, you can't get out of it, it's really hard to get out of it. Yeah, great. I just instinctively reached up and put my palm under the guy's chin and just pushed his head back. I didn't whack him, I just pushed his head back. The idea was to push his head back and then get my leg up to leap over his face. As soon as I touched his face, people jumped in and go, you can't do that, you can't do that. It's a disqualification if you touch the face in judo, don't do it. But that's stupid. You can't teach that if there's rules and regulations and then expect that move that only works within rules to work in another arena where those confines don't exist. So if you are really good at boxing, that's great. But if you get into a tight clinch with somebody in an actual street confrontation, you can't then complain if the guy just lashes an elbow into your eyebrow. Elbows aren't allowed in boxing. You're not boxing. Restraints work one-on-one in sporting contests if the other person is not allowed to do certain things. I've said to a lot of people, if somebody got them out in a self-defense situation, or if they fell into your guard, if their head is here, the first thing you should be doing is biting their face off. I know it's vulgar and it's nasty and it's not the nicest thing to have to contemplate, but there's a lot of people out there who train grappling. There's a lot of people train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's one of our 5 core systems. I'm not going to give you the opportunity to compose yourself so you can do stuff to me. As soon as we're there, I'm biting your face off. I'm trying to get my thumb in your eyes. I'm not really probably going to be able to pull someone's eye out. That's more of a myth. But it's a distraction. It's a distraction that you don't have to deal with in a sporting aspect. So a restraint will work one-on-one in sporting aspects because there's rules and regulations to what the other person can do. Also, of course, there's an old ITV show called Bouncers from maybe 15 years ago or so. I believe it was narrated by a guy called Grub Smith. They show very clearly in one episode there's a deaf guy who's about 12 stone, and he's being pinned down by 3 or 4 very large bouncers who are each over 20 stone, and they have a hell of a time doing it, and they really, really struggle with it because that 1 12 stone guy didn't want to be held down. I've mentioned it quite a few times in classes. The only restraint that I trust is unconsciousness. If the guy is asleep, he's not really much of a threat anymore. If he's still awake, and it's like, well, I'm going to hold him down. No, it's not going to work. If he's on chemicals, if he's better trained than you, if he's just a very wild guy who's very strong, he's probably going to get out of it. The other thing is, if our objective in self-defense is to get ourselves away from the danger, why are you pinning him? Why are you trying to hold him and restrain him? Um, that shouldn't be part of our makeup. That shouldn't be part of our game plan at all. Even if it's a case of, well, I've seen this guy commit a crime and I'm holding him until the police get here. Don't, don't. If you see the guy, committing a crime and somebody else has already phoned the police or you're phoning the police, watch the guy. Try and remember as many details as you can: height, weight, race, clothing, if there's any tattoos or scars, as many details about his face as you can, and then give those details to the police. It's not your job to be jumping in and tackling people. So restraints work really well in sport and competition. They don't work so well in a real self-defense situation, based purely off the fact that the objective of self-defense is to run away. It's to get out of there. So, even if we're talking about, well, I was restraining the guy, restraining the guy, wait for him to make a mistake so I could get a choke, put the guy to sleep, and then I was going to run. Okay, if you're in a position where you can restrain the guy, let go of him, stand up, a couple of palm shots to the forehead, knock him out, or at least daze him, stamp on the ankle, run away. If your game plan is to hold him and restrain him so that you can then work to get a choke, how many friends has he got with him? This is another thing that doesn't get taken into account when people teach restraints for self-defense. If that guy's got friends with him, I don't want to be on the ground holding him there with nothing really much happening. So these are the reasons why I don't really teach restraints. In the law enforcement security syllabus, it does get taught. That is not a syllabus I teach to regular, average, everyday civilians. Not because it's a dangerous syllabus or anything, but just because I don't want average, everyday, non-martial artists thinking, oh, I'll give that a try. I don't want it to be in your brain what that is. Exactly for the same rules as why I don't teach wrist locks for self-defense, because it shouldn't be part of your makeup at all. You shouldn't be thinking about them. For self-defense, it should be whack the guy, stamp the ankle, run away. If we're on the ground, we need to be getting up off the ground as quickly as possible, stamp the ankle, run away. That alone is why we don't teach restraints in self-defense. As ever, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, the box underneath. If you would like and share and subscribe, that would be brilliant. Even if you give a thumbs down or if it's a negative comment, please, feedback is more than welcome. As ever, train hard and stay vigilant.